Night drapes Atlanta in velvet silence. A street lamp flickers outside a modest apartment where, hours earlier, 22-year-old Instagram star Tamisha Price posed for one last maternity photo, hand resting on a belly ready to welcome life. At 3:47 a.m., a single elevator camera captures her boyfriend, Jamal Bennett, stepping into the hallway. He carries no gift, no flowers, only a hard-set jaw and a bulge beneath his hoodie. 31 rounds weighed in the magazine. 31 chances to choose mercy. Tamisha is texting a lullaby playlist to her sister when she hears the key turn. The unborn child inside her shifts. Maybe it senses danger in the sudden hush that falls over the room. A candle guttering on the coffee table throws tall, quivering shapes against the walls, shapes that stretch and bend as footsteps approach. Neighbors later tell police they caught a faint whiff of jasmine drifting through an open window, the same scent Tamisha wore when she announced her pregnancy online. In that announcement, Jamal smiled for the camera, hand on her stomach, hashtags promising forever. Tonight, those promises crack like ice. A muffled argument sparks. Words tumble over each other, DNA, loyalty, money, until the first shot roars. With splinters, a framed ultrasound crashes to the floor. Tamisha staggers, hands lifting in futile peace. She barely finishes the plea forming on her lips before metal flies again, and again, until smoke curls toward the ceiling and the candle dies. Sirens slice the quiet 5 minutes too late. Jamal vanishes into the night. On the living room carpet lie 2 lives ended within the span of a heartbeat, a phone still glowing with the lullaby that will never be sung. November 14th, 2023, Atlanta, Georgia. A cool breeze slides through Grant Park, rattling the bare branches and carrying the distant hum of Interstate 20. In a third-floor walk-up on Cherokee Avenue, Tamisha Price arranges baby clothes the color of sunrise. Tiny onesies stamped with golden crowns, knitted socks soft as whispers. 9 months pregnant, she moves carefully, pausing every few minutes to press a palm to her swollen belly and feel the gentle roll of the child she has already named Amira. Her life, until this moment, reads like a modern fairy tale. Raised in a single-bedroom duplex on the South Side, she hustled through cosmetology school by day and modeled thrifted fashion on Instagram by night. A viral hair care tutorial pushed her follower count past 100,000, then brand deals followed, skincare subscriptions, discount codes, makeup palettes launched from the living room couch her mother once slept on. Each milestone she shared with her audience, always smiling, always luminous. Followers cheered when she revealed the pregnancy, a slow-motion video of pastel confetti exploding against Atlanta's skyline, Jamal wrapping his arms around her, forehead pressed to hers. Jamal Bennett carried a different story. 25 years old, high school basketball standout turned barback, turned overnight club promoter. A charming grin bought him free drinks. A sharp temper bought him warnings from managers who liked his numbers but feared his heat. That temper first surfaced 6 months into the relationship, when he accused Tamisha of flirting during a rooftop photo shoot. She apologized on camera, later telling friends she felt responsible for calming him. By early September, Jamal's finances dipped. Club nights slowed after a city curfew, and in text messages he fretted over rent, car notes, and now diapers. He asked for a prenatal DNA test, insisting he needed clarity before signing the birth certificate. Tamisha's family bristled. She has loved you, stayed with you, planned life with you, her mother said over Sunday dinner. Jamal left early, barely speaking. Tamisha documented the tension in a note on her phone, an insurance policy she called it, listing every heated exchange, every raised voice, timestamps, screenshots of threats that arrived after midnight, scrawled apologies that followed at dawn. She never posted these. They sat quietly in iCloud purgatory, invisible to the followers who still believed in the fairy tale. On October 29th, a police cruiser rolled to the apartment after neighbors reported shouting. Officers found overturned chairs and a cracked phone screen. No arrests. Only a thin pamphlet on domestic violence resources placed on the coffee table. Body-worn cameras captured the scene. Jamal pacing, hands flexing, Tamisha whispering that everything was fine. The footage will later resurface in court, a grim prologue no one stopped to read. 2 weeks later, the paternity envelope arrived at a private lab in Marietta. A technician sealed the results in white paper, stamped confidential, and shipped it overnight. The envelope landed in Jamal's mailbox the morning of November 14th. He slid it into his jacket, unopened. What words inside could soothe the storm already underway? That evening, Tamisha hosted a small baby shower livestream. Pink balloons bobbed above a cake that read "Welcome, Amira." In the chat, heart emojis streamed upward, while just off camera her phone vibrated with Jamal's unanswered calls. She ended the stream at 10:30, blew out candles, and sent a laughing selfie to her sister, feet swollen like pancakes, but still cute. It was the last photo she would ever take. Across town, Jamal drank bourbon in the VIP corner of Club Halcyon. Security footage fixes his movements. 12:07, shots poured. 1:02, head in hands. 2:31, stumbling toward the exit. Outside, he pauses beneath the streetlight, the paternity envelope now crumpled in his fist. He reaches into his hoodie, checks the weight of the Glock he purchased 2 months prior at a gun show in Macon. No background check required. He drives the 8 miles to Cherokee Avenue in 11 minutes, redlining through empty intersections. Cell tower pings trace the route like breadcrumbs no one will follow until dawn. He parks, engine idling, breath steaming against the windshield. In the back seat lies a lavender gift bag, diaper cream, a plush elephant, a handwritten card that begins "Dear Amira" and ends with a smudge of bourbon-soaked ink. Upstairs, Tamisha cues a lullaby playlist on her phone. Brahms' lullaby lilts through a Bluetooth speaker while she folds one last blanket. She does not hear the elevator ding. She does not hear the heavy bootstep as Jamal crosses the threshold. The lullaby continues even after the first shot shatters the sonogram frame. By 3:52, sirens wail down Cherokee, painting the walls in pulses of red and blue. Paramedics kneel beside 2 bodies. They listen for heartbeats and find none. A phone buzzes under shattered glass. Her sister calling again, unaware of the silence that has taken root. Atlanta wakes to headlines of double homicide. Followers refresh Tamisha's profile, confused by the sudden stop in stories. Candlelight vigils spark on street corners. Hashtags multiply. Jamal, meanwhile, slips through city streets, searching for a place liquor can't reach and memory can't follow. A gray dawn settles over Atlanta as detectives Gary Holt and Alicia Monroe step from their unmarked sedan, coffee cooling fast in the November chill. Yellow tape flutters at the apartment entrance, a silent metronome to the scene inside. On the 3rd floor they pause, absorbing the violence painted across plaster and carpet. Bullet holes pock the hallway drywall like constellations. Shell casings glint beneath evidence markers that climb past 20 before anyone reaches the living room threshold. Tamisha lies on her left side, head angled toward the nursery she never entered. A single hand still shields her abdomen, a gesture frozen in futile protection. The air smells of cordite and lavender room spray, a sharp mix that makes Holt swallow hard before he can speak. Monroe kneels, lifts the shattered phone. The screen glows with an unfinished text. "Love you too, sis. See you Tomo." Timestamp 3:48 a.m. Crime scene text photograph everything. The candle wax pooled like melted gold. The ultrasound portrait spiderwebbed with glass. Streaks of arterial spray that end at the nursery door. In the crib, a stuffed giraffe sits untouched beneath a mobile of silver moons, spinning slowly in the breeze from a cracked window. Downstairs, Jamal's sedan still idles, fuel needle kissing empty. Inside the glove box, officers find the lavender gift bag and a card that trails off mid-sentence. The Glock is gone, but 13 loose rounds roll beneath the passenger seat, rattling whenever someone breathes too hard. Witness statements arrive in fragments. Apartment 3B heard loud voices after 3:30, then a burst that sounded like fireworks. The tenant in 2A smelled sulfur, thought someone lit a grill on the balcony. Another recalls a woman crying, "Please, Jamal, though he can't swear to the name, just the desperation that clung to it. Detectives trace the relationship through digital breadcrumbs. On Instagram, Jamal's last post from 2 weeks earlier shows him kissing Tamisha's belly, captioned "Countdown to my princess." Underneath, a newer comment from Jamal himself reads simply, "Delete this." Direct messages paint a harsher picture: complaints about money, demands for the DNA test, threats buried beneath laughing emojis. At 1:42 a.m., he sends, "We talk tonight." No excuses. She never replies. Monroe pulls cell tower logs. Jamal's phone pings near Clubhouseian until 2:31. Jumps southbound on I-85, reaches Cherokee Avenue at 3:42. At 3:57 the signal cuts, battery removed or phone powered down. Traffic cameras catch a blurred sedan racing through a red light on Boulevard minutes later, license plate obscured by mud. By mid-morning the media swarms. Reporters replay her pregnancy reveal reel on loop, pastel confetti exploding against sunset while anchors speak of murder. Followers flood her comment section with candle emojis and broken hearts. Some blame Jamal outright. Others wonder if an intruder staged the scene. Conspiracy threads sprout like weeds: a jealous fan, a secret stalker, a brand deal rival. Detectives sift rumor from record, focusing on the one man unseen since dawn. At noon, Holt contacts Jamal's mother, Dolores Bennett, reaching her at a hair salon on Cascade Road. She stammers through tears, says her son called just after 4, voice shaking, said, "Mama, I messed up," then hung up before she could ask why. He hasn't answered since. She knows about the gun. He claimed it was for protection after a robbery at the club, but she never believed he'd use it. Search warrants unlock Jamal's apartment. Inside, police find an opened envelope from Genesis Diagnostics. The report lies face down on the counter. Holt flips it. Probability of paternity 99.96%. Jamal read these words less than 6 hours ago. The implication settles like lead. Knowledge that should have calmed doubt instead fed rage. Back at headquarters, Monroe reviews body camera footage from the October domestic call. Tamisha's voice trembles as she tells officers, "It was just yelling, no hitting. We're fine." Jamal paces behind her, jaw clenched, eyes flicking to the unholstered sidearms. An officer offers to separate them for the night. She declines. In a quiet interview room, Tamisha's best friend, Monique Harris, hands over a passcode. The notes file Tamisha called her insurance. Detectives open it to pages of dates, arguments, screenshots of threats. "I won't raise some other man's kid. You're playing me. If it's mine, you'll wish it wasn't." One entry from November 12th reads, "He said I'm dead to him if that letter proves anything." Another ends, "If something happens, start with him." The timeline sharpens. Motive forms a silhouette that grows darker with every testimony. Jealousy edged by financial panic, a mistaken belief erased too late by undeniable science. Evening falls. Police issue a bolo for Jamal's silver Honda, license plate RZG 2140, armed and dangerous. Social feeds erupt with sightings, some genuine, most panic-fueled. A cashier swears he bought gasoline near Savannah. Dashcam shows a different man. Someone posts a blurry photo outside Montgomery. Plate digits don't match. Meanwhile, forensic ballistics finish their report. All 31 casings match the Glock registered at the Macon gun show. Trajectory mapping reveals a pattern. Shots walked her backward across the living room. Final round delivered at near contact to the abdomen. Intent declared in gunpowder and geometry. That night, Monroe returns to the apartment, stands in the nursery doorway lit only by police flash. She notes a faint handprint on the crib rail, adult-sized, dusted with soot, as though someone paused mid-rampage, touched the unborn child's future, and still chose to end it. She photographs the print, uncertainty gnawing. Was it Tamisha steadying herself or Jamal hesitating? Outside, candlelight gathers again. Strangers set stuffed animals along the sidewalk, each flame reflecting in tear-wet faces that ask why a man blessed with fatherhood pulled a trigger 31 times. Tomorrow will bring a tip that Jamal crossed into South Carolina, a chase down Highway 95, and a surrender that leaves sirens echoing over Pine Forest. But for now, Atlanta holds its breath, waiting for justice to step from shadow into light. Morning breaks over Jasper County, South Carolina, with a sky the color of burned parchment. At a roadside motel off exit 21, the desk clerk smells alcohol the moment a man steps through the automatic doors. He wears yesterday's club clothes, hoodie pocket heavy, eyes racing the room like prey clocks angles of escape. He signs the ledger, Joshua Bell. The clerk notices the tremor in his hand, yet hands over a key, room 12, end of the row. Inside, Jamal Bennett locks the door, pulls blackout curtains, and places the Glock on the nightstand. The pistol sits next to a coffee-stained Bible, Gideon pages fluttering in air-conditioned sighs. He lowers himself onto the mattress, opens his phone, and scrolls news feeds already carrying his face. A push alert confirms what he fears. Police name boyfriend in double homicide of pregnant influencer. Heat rises in his chest. He powers the device off, removes the SIM, and shoves it deep into the ice bucket beneath melting cubes. Back in Atlanta, Detectives Holt and Monroe brief the U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force. Toll booth cameras on I-75 caught the Honda at 5:22 a.m., license plate canned after clipping a traffic cone. A surveillance plane picks up the trail near the state line but loses it in patchy fog. Authorities fan out across truck stops, diners, pawn shops, anywhere a man might trade a weapon for cash. Monroe pins Jamal's last known coordinates on a map, red dot glowing like a wound. At 10:07 a.m., the Jasper County Sheriff's Office receives a call from the motel clerk. "Got a guess fits your bolo," he says, low-voiced, staring at room 12 through a dusty lobby window. Moments later, cruisers glide in silent approach, engines idling behind dumpsters. Deputy Carlos Ruiz lifts a bullhorn, announces, "Jamal Bennett, come out with hands up." No answer. Tactical boots crunch gravel, stacking along the stucco wall. Inside, Jamal jumps at the metallic echo of his name. He grabs the Glock, checks the chamber, empty. The magazine lies on the desk, 13 rounds removed from the car. He dropped the full clip somewhere between Atlanta and here. Only one round sits loose beside the Bible. Choices collapse inward. He sinks to his knees, forehead touching threadbare carpet, and begins to sob. At 10:19, the door opens. Jamal steps into sunlight, palm skyward, voice broken, "Don't shoot. I'm done." Cuffs click. Camera's record. A marshal reads rights while Jamal stares past the parking lot. Extradition moves fast. By dusk, Jamal sits in an interrogation room at Atlanta PD, wrists cuffed to a steel ring. Fluorescent lights buzz overhead, relentless as guilt. Detective Monroe enters alone, slides a styrofoam cup of water across the table. She places the paternity report in front of him, says nothing. Jamal's eyes flicker to the numbers proving fatherhood, then shut tight. He whispers, "She told me it was mine." Monroe waits. Minutes pass, the ceiling vent ticking. At last he mutters, "I thought she was lying." His voice cracks on the word thought, regret spilling into the stale air. He speaks for 2 hours, each sentence a stone dropped in deep water. He drank, drove, confronted, demanded she admit infidelity. She refused. He brandished the gun to scare her. Finger grazed the trigger. First shot rang out. After that, he says, noise filled his head like shattering glass, and he kept firing until the magazine clicked dry. He never read the envelope. He only felt its weight. On the drive, curiosity battled fear. He ripped it open at a gas station, saw the percentage, vomited behind the dumpsters, kept driving. Across town, medical examiner Dr. Lydia Chen completes the autopsy. She lists cause of death, multiple gunshot wounds, mother and fetus. Time of death, 3:49 a.m., nearly synchronous heart stoppage. She removes the silver bracelet from Tamisha's wrist, cleans blood from the engraved plate, Amira Do 11, 21, 23, then places it in an evidence bag. The district attorney files 2 counts of malice murder, plus firearm enhancement. Georgia law recognizes the unborn child as a separate victim once quickening occurs, and at 39 weeks there is no dispute. Public reaction splits. Some hail the additional charge as overdue justice. Others argue it politicizes tragedy. Cable panels debate while candles still flicker on Cherokee Avenue. On December 2nd, Jamal stands for arraignment, shackled, orange jumpsuit stark against mahogany benches. He pleads not guilty. The court sets no bond. As deputies lead him away, he glances toward the gallery where Dolores Bennett weeps into a handkerchief, eyes hollow. Across the aisle, Tamisha's mother clutches the sonogram photo, lips moving in silent prayer. Reporters swarm outside the courthouse steps. Microphones thrust forward capture fragments, 31 rounds, DNA proof, domestic violence epidemic. Behind them, a mural of Tamisha blossoms on a brick wall, her smiling profile haloed by pink peonies, Amira's name scripted beneath. Passers-by stop, press palms to painted petals, and whisper promises to remember. The investigation now shifts to prosecution. Detectives comb Jamal's digital footprint, subpoena financial records, interview club co-workers who recall his temper flaring whenever patrons flirted with Tamisha online. A bartender named Rico delivers a key detail. Jamal once slammed a phone onto the bar, screen cracked, after reading a comment that called him lucky to be her baby daddy. He muttered, "We'll see about that." Meanwhile, Monroe pieces together the timeline for trial exhibits. She overlays security cam clips, phone pings, ignition timestamps, forming a minute-by-minute storyboard that ends with Jamal's entry at 3:47 and police arrival at 3:56. She pauses on the frame showing Jamal's silhouette in the doorway, weapon raised against the glow of that single candle. Every time she watches, she feels the same chill. 1 second holds the power to erase lifetimes. February 20th, jury selection begins. Prosecutors seat 9 women, 3 men, diverse in age and background. Each swore they could view influencer fame with neutrality. Opening statements follow. The state paints a portrait of jealousy F. Ames Jamal never intended death. They do not mention the single bullet he saved, left unfired in a motel nightstand. For 3 weeks, courtroom drama unfolds. Monique reads Tamisha's notes aloud, voice trembling on entries marked threat level high. The motel clerk identifies Jamal, finger pointed without hesitation. Ballistics experts testify that the pattern of fire tracked Tamisha's retreat, not a struggle. The paternity report is admitted, prosecution arguing motive crystallized when truth clashed with fear. The defense calls Jamal to the stand against counsel's advice. He sobs through testimony, says he loved Tamisha, says the gun went crazy in his hand. Cross-examination cuts through remorse. Prosecutor Angela Shaw asks, "How many times does a finger choose fear over love, Mr. Bennett?" Silence answers louder than words. Closing arguments land on March 15th. Shaw holds the shattered ultrasound frame, glass replaced by clear plastic. She lifts it so jurors see the tiny outline of a child who never drew breath. "This," she says, "is the face of 31 verdicts, one for every shot, one for every heartbeat stolen." Defense pleads for mercy, cites Jamal's regret, his cooperation, the single round he never fired, as proof he was not past reason. Deliberations last 6 hours. At 8:42 p.m., the foreman reads, "Guilty on all counts." Sentencing follows May 2nd. Judge Evelyn Waters, voice steady, imposes life without parole for each murder, sentences to run consecutively. Jamal lowers his head, a tear tracing the line of the county seal on the courtroom carpet. Outside, twilight settles. Reporters relay the verdict under fading sun. On Cherokee Avenue, fresh candles replace those melted to stubs. Tamisha's mother arrives with a tiny pair of golden-crowned socks and lays them beside the mural. She whispers, "Justice, baby girl," then steps back, allowing wind to lift the flames' glow against painted peonies. And yet questions endure. Why did Jamal load 31 rounds instead of the standard 17? Why keep firing after the first fatal shot? Somewhere between those empty shells lies a fragment of fear the law cannot prosecute, a fracture no verdict can mend. In the months to come, Georgia lawmakers draft Tamisha's law, proposing emergency prenatal protection orders for expectant mothers in domestic violence situations. Advocates testify, brandishing data. 1 in 6 pregnant women faces violence, yet few seek help. The bill gains traction, driven by the faces of a mother and daughter lost before their story could unfold. Tonight, though, the city exhales. Sirens fade, candles flicker, and a mural watches over passers-by, reminder that a heartbeat should be a promise, not a countdown to silence. The story is now in your hands. Do you believe justice can ever balance the scales when 2 lives are lost before one can even begin? Were the warning signs clear enough to save Tamisha and Amira, or did a system built to protect them arrive moments too late? Share your thoughts, your theories, and your own experiences with domestic violence prevention in the comments below. If you want more in-depth investigations that honor victims and expose the truth, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a case. Like this video to help it reach others who need to hear Tamisha's story, and pass it on, because awareness is the first step toward prevention. Most importantly, if you or someone you know feels unsafe at home, reach out now. Call your local helpline, talk to a friend, or contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline in your area. One call can rewrite an ending.